All right. So, hey everyone, welcome to the welcome to the
Fuck.
it's okay, whatever. We'll keep it in. Welcome to the first episode of Taxi Squad, a podcast where Simon and I both go through a weekly ride in the latest and greatest in the world of hockey. We'll be covering literally everything in regards to the sport, from game day news, lineups, injuries, hirings, firings, salary cap shenanigans, because there's always a shit ton of them that go on through the season. Whatever it is, we're probably going to be covering it, especially in regards to the NHL. We are diehard fans of the Leafs ourselves, but we're going to try to keep this as as objective as possible and try to make it as broad of a podcast as possible as well. We don't only want to keep it about the Leafs because we can go on and on about how this team is so bad, but also we have so much to talk about it at the same time. We're going to try to branch out. So context here, as well as a disclaimer, both Simon and I are 23 years old. We have no real or tangible expertise when it comes to the sport. When it comes to like us making a podcast, we're just like the billions of others that are on the internet right now. We're just fans of the sport. I'm saying fans lightly. I think you and I have both been following for like 2 decades now. So I'd consider us like hockey nerds at this point, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I think we've accumulated enough knowledge to make a show out of it. That's why we're here. Other than that, though, we're just like you guys. Whoever is listening to the show, whoever stumbles upon this little episode over here, we're just the same as you. We listen to the same podcast you do. If you're listening to this, that means you yourself are a hockey nerd. So congratulations, you made it. Yeah. You made it to the Taxi Squad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly intro myself, and then Simon, you can follow suit.
Okay, sure.
My name is Arman. Like I mentioned, 23 years old. I just graduated from U of T, and I wanted to do a hockey podcast for the longest time, but none of my friends really had, I guess, as much expertise on NHL and hockey and stuff like that. And then the other friends I have, they're not about the whole podcast thing. Me, on the other hand, I'm an idiot. So this is my second run at podcasting. We'll see how long, and how successful this one goes. Your turn.
Okay, a lot of pressure on me now. Hi, I'm Simon. Like Armand alluded to earlier on the podcast, I'm 23 years old as well. In April, I graduated from University of Guelph Humber, Etobicoke, with a kinesiology degree. I also recently just started an athletic therapy degree at Sheridan College back in September. So unfortunately, I am still a student for next couple of years. And why I want to start this podcast, basically everything that Armand was talking about. I mean, I've been watching hockey for the last decade and a bit. I've been watching the Leafs almost my whole life. Hockey's become a sport I'm very passionate about, something I like talking about. And unfortunately, like there's a lot of people I know, a lot of my friends that follow the sport, but aren't really quite as into it as I am. And I think this is a really good opportunity for me and Armand as well to kind of talk about things and actually especially express our opinions in a way that we wouldn't really be able to with the people that we surround ourselves with. So I'm really looking forward to getting this started. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it.
As am I. I think for some reason, we think our opinions are so good that we'd like to share it on the internet right now. That's why
they're not, but we'll see.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yo, you never know. One day, what if this podcast gets big? Then our opinions will matter. We'll see.
Maybe. You never know. You never know.
So I'm going to use the chance now to run through how this entire podcast is going to work. So Taxi Squad, how we're going to run it is once a week. Simon and I are just going to hop on. We're going to just cover, like I mentioned, whatever happened over the last week, especially in regards to the NHL. We're going to stick to mainly like the news. We'll talk about the Leafs every now and then as well. Or who knows, maybe we'll only talk about the Leafs. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you never know.
But we're going to try to make it broad. We're thinking of each episode to be around 30 to 45 minutes. So that's how long we're gonna keep our episodes, at least to start the podcast with. We'll see how long we can keep this up. If it turns out that we end up speaking and rambling on forever, like I'm doing right now, then we might just increase the time. But we'll see. Normally podcasts are like hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. It really depends. But I think for the beginning, we'll keep it short and crisp. Platforms wise, Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcast, whatever whatever podcasting system is out there, you'll probably find us on. So YouTube as well. We'll try to get this up on there. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up the first topic. Since we're recording this on October 15th, so Friday, October 15th, 2021.
Yep.
The new NHL season just started. And so the Leafs played their first game this last Wednesday against the Habs. They won that 2-1. And then they played last night against the Senators. They lost that 3-2.
Did they ever?
And so we'll start off here just by giving our brief quote unquote opinions on the Leafs season, what we think is going to happen, a quick recap of the two games if we want. And then maybe just some quick predictions on the team that we love to hate. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So I'll start with the game of Montreal because that's the one that I think quick disclaimer, I didn't actually have a chance to watch the game yesterday. I went back and watched the highlights, so I've seen everything I need. Yeah, I did have a midterm. So I went back and I watched the highlights. I've seen everything that I think I need to see. Like I've been on Twitter, I've read everything. Like I've it's almost like I really watched the game. But anyways, I watched the home opener against Montreal. And the one thing I noticed early on, at least between the game, each games we've seen so far is a common topic we've seen not just this year but in past years, just not starting on time. Especially in the home opener, I especially noticed early on the Leafs look really flat. The Canadians are really running their show. Jack Campbell really saved their bake in the first couple of minutes of the first period. He had a really big save. I think it's on Brett Kulak. The Habs had a flurry of really good opportunities to start the game off, and then I think they really got settled in later on the first period, and after that they really kind of dominated throughout the game. I really liked how they looked, and after that everything was kind of fine. Obviously, William Nylander got that big goal to take the lead. Like I liked what I saw after the first couple minutes of the first period, and then he had last night. So they were on a back-to-back. I will give that's the one benefit of the doubt I will give them. I don't think it's easy starting the season off on a back-to-back, but they just looked flat. Not even just to start off the game, like they looked flat throughout. And sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's good that you watched the first game because I didn't get a chance to watch that one fully. I did instead watch yesterday's completely.
Okay.
So it's good that we have like one game each so far under our belts for this.
Yeah.
I was gonna say for yesterday's game, same thing as the first game. The start, like the entire first period, garbage, really, really bad. I don't know if like they've been doing this, I think, for like 2 or 3 seasons now, where like right out the gate, even under Mike Babcock, their starts were so bad. And it would always take them to the second and third. And then by the time you're getting into the game, you're playing catch up, and then it's too little too late all the time. That's how all the losses were in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And it's happening again right now. So that's not good. However, what I really liked was, maybe this is just me being stupidly hopeful, but this team felt like when they wanted to dominate yesterday's game, they did. And when they realized that, like, what's the team we're playing against? The fucking Ottawa Senators. Then like you can see in the shots just on themselves, 48 to I think 27 that was yesterday. Mrazek played amazing until he got injured, which sucks. Campbell came in, he was fine as well. I didn't notice any player that had a bad game in particular. I thought Kerfoot was kind of invisible for most of the game. But other than that, most of the players are fine. It's just the start. You let in 3 goals in the first period, you're never going to recover from that all the time. So
like it's frustrating for sure. So I didn't really watch, but I'm in Montreal for those of you who don't know. So I'm not even home right now. So I was out to dinner last night and I already see they're down 3-0, like before the end of the first period. I'm like, okay, this is just lovely. But like it's frustrating. Like like we know what this team's capable of. They have so much talent. They are Marner, Nylander, Tavares. This is a team that they should never play like that coming out of the gate. They shouldn't play like that at all, really. I mean, it sucks, but it is early on in the season. I am trying to convince myself that they'll be better on later as the season goes on, which I believe they will, especially once they get their best player back in Austin Matthews, who still hasn't played yet. I think they're going to be fine. It is a bit concerning to see these old trends continue to pass on from season to season. And I guess the only other really concern I have right now is just Peter Mrazek. He did go down, as you mentioned, he did go down with a groin injury. We don't know as of right now how serious it is. Because it is a groin injury, I am very concerned considering groin injuries seem to be like a death sentence for goalies and their and how they do. And again, we'll see. I assume Hutch is going to be the backup until further notice. Hopefully, like Hutch wasn't that bad last year, but I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But again, it's to say I'm completely satisfied with the first two games would be a complete lie. But I think I've seen a lot of people overreacting to how poorly they thought the Leafs played yesterday, and I think we kind of have to take a step back and kind of just take a deep breath and relax and remember it's the second game of the season. Like at the end of the day, this season, the regular season does not matter. Like it's everything. The way people will judge this team this year will be in the playoffs, which sucks, but that's just part of how this team has been off. Like that's just what the team has done to us the last couple of years. Like that's the only thing people care about this year.
Is it wrong to say that because of the playoff loss last year, I really don't give a shit about what happens in the regular season?
Um, I think yes and no. I say yes because I think the Leafs should be at the end. Does it really matter? No, because if they even if they win the President's Trophy this year, which I don't think they will, but if they do, and they get bounced in the first round like they have in years past, nothing changes. But I do think that you do care in the sense that if they do really well, to get an easier playoff matchup. That's my thought. And I guess the other thing is you have these players that are making all this money. You have three players who are making over $10 million. Like you need them to perform both in the regular season and the playoffs. That's the one thing that us Leaf fans have been preaching for a while, especially with Matthews and Marner, just consistency of performance in both the playoffs and the regular season, which we haven't gotten yet. So
Yeah.
that's
I'm okay, so I watched the documentary as well last weekend, the All or Nothing one.
Yep.
I don't know why I chose to do that. It was just like there was already a sword in my heart and I was just turning the handle further and further, but I got through it. But the one thing I'm going to say though is the loss last season. First of all, I'm never gonna forgive them for that loss against Montreal. I don't care what happens this season. I don't care if they win the cup this season. I will never ever forgive them for losing.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
The Canadians.
I don't think.
But that loss taught me that even if they win the President's Trophy this year, it's the fucking Leafs, man. If it's like a mentality thing and they don't get over it this year, then what can I really expect from them?
Yep.
So I hope they change. I really hope they prove me wrong. If anything, this is the all or nothing year because I think if they don't do any damage this year, and I'm thinking third round, they have expectations keep rising on them every single year, but they haven't made it out of the first round yet.
Yeah. Yep. You're not wrong. I think you said again. I think a lot of people in the run of the league realize that in the years past, people this has been a topic because I think it's 5 years in a row now where they've been bounced in the first round. Since they drafted Austin Matthews in 2016, they haven't made it past the first round. And I know that in the past couple of years they've it's been the topic's been talked about in past seasons about moving a piece to just change it up a little bit just to shake up the core because they just to change things up a bit. And in my opinion, rightfully so, Kyle Dubas said, no, we're going to stick by the process. We're going to stick by this core. But this year, this is a completely different year. After blowing a 3-1 lead last year to a team who you were way better than, both on paper and on the ice, if you do not get it done this year, changes will happen. Whether you like it or not, regardless of what your stance is on this team, if they do not make changes this year in terms of their performance in the playoffs, things will change. And I don't know what that means. I don't know who's leaving, who's coming. But it sucks. But it's this could be this core's last dance, unfortunately, and it sucks. But like I said before, this isn't something that has happened overnight. This is because there's been years and years and years of just built up failure, really, in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I'm a very impatient dude, for those who don't know. So if I was Kyle Dubas, there's a reason I'm not the GM of the Leafs. But if I was him, I would not have waited 5 years. I would have pulled the plug when, like right after the Columbus loss, to be honest with you. After that, they tried again and didn't work against Montreal. And then I would have for sure traded someone, but then he kept rolling. He keeps rolling the dice on the same roster over and over again. Understandably, like once you've drafted these players and you've put so much time and resources into them, you always think like, oh, it's coming soon. Just watch. Like in his mind, he's probably thinking, I don't know, example, Chicago Bulls, right? I think it took MJ like 7 seasons for him to win his first. I think something like that, right?
I can't remember, but yeah.
So I think that's what he's doing as well. Understandable. It is what it is.
Well, like the thing is, like you've had so many different, like they've had so many things happen the last couple of years where I could see why he wouldn't do it, right? So, like for example, the thing with the Blue Jackets, the season after the season you were talking about, that was Keith's first season as an NHL head coach, but it wasn't even a full season.
Not even yet.
So you bring him in next season and you say, okay, this is Sheldon Keefe's first full season, like so not full season, but like first like not regular length, but first full NHL season as head coach. You implement the culture, you implement your system, you see what happens, and then after that you can make a decision. And unfortunately, just the Leafs are gonna leave. That's at the end of the day, that is what happened, and it sucks, but like, yeah. Anyways.
And yet we are back here watching the same team.
Yeah. I will say I do think the team on paper looks way better this year than it did last year. I do like a lot of the pieces I did bring in, so I am at least optimistic about that. But we're gonna see. That's really all I can say at this point, unfortunately.
I'm undecided right now as to whether they're better or worse than last year. I think Bogosian was a real loss on the back end. I love Dermott, but I don't trust him still, especially after that horrible turnover in Game 6, I think it was.
6, yep. I think they're actually. I think they're on paper they are better. Bogosian was a big loss. I will 100% agree with that. But Zach Hyman was also a massive loss. But the thing with Zach Hyman is I think they brought in a lot of good pieces that they could have used with that Zach Hyman money. And I think they distributed it very well. It's like Michael Bunting, for example. I love Michael Bunting early on. Andre Kasha has looked unbelievable the first 2 games of the season. David Kampf, I mean, I know it's only 2 games against Ottawa and against Montreal, but the Leafs penalty kill has looked very solid so far. And David Kampf is a huge reason of that. And look, the Zach Bogosian was a loss. I will 100% agree with that. But at the same time, he was I think their third pair right D or left D.
Yeah.
If that is what tanks your team, your team's not good enough. And I think Timothy Liljegren, I'm really excited to see what he can do this year because I think he's gonna have a really big season. But Sandin and Dermott, I'm concerned about both of them a little bit. Sandin, not so much because he is still young, he is still developing. But Travis Dermott, I am worried. I was surprised he was not dealt in the offseason, to be completely honest with you.
Same. And I was even more surprised that they doubled down on him.
Yep.
They give him a contract extension for like 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yep.
So, okay, I'll get into that later on. I think you have one of your questions from it's related to this. By the way, is it Sandin or Sandin? I always say Sandin.
I think it's Sandin. I'm pretty sure it's Sandin.
Okay, Sandin. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one more thing about the Leafs. Sorry, shit, we've already been talking for like 20 minutes. The Leafs power play as well looks better than it was last season. And I don't want to get optimistic about this because their power play has turned to absolute smoking hot shit in the last 2 seasons, especially after like the midway point of the season.
Yep.
So far though, it's not bad. And I think that's because the change they made.
Yep.
They put Marner in the bumper spot. They're in their power play setup instead. So who knows? We'll see if that makes a huge difference. So far, it looks okay.
Well, we're also forgetting one thing. They don't have Poppy yet. They don't have their 40 like the what do you got like 48 goals last year, whatever it was.
60 goal pace.
They're adding that
regular season.
Yeah, 60 goal pace. They're adding that to that power play.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see what happens with the power play. But I 100% agree. I love that they loaded up Nylander and Matthews on the half walls. They have Marner on the bumper, and you put Riley on the blue line. Like they love that umbrella. I think it looks great right now. You put Tavares in front of the net, tips, deflections, greasy goals. Like I think I really like how it looks so far, but like they've also looked really good years past, and have absolutely flamed out like the following months of the season. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's pivot now.
Mhm.
Next topic. I'm gonna ask you, Simon, your division winner predictions for the 2022 season. So I'm gonna go first. We'll go in order from save the Atlantic for the last.
Okay.
But we'll go Metro and then Central and then Pacific. I don't know if you have the standings up in front of you, but
I do. I have them in front of me.
I do as well. So I'm gonna go start with the Metro. My prediction for the Metro winner for this season, it's gonna be a close race, in my opinion, between Carolina and Washington. But I think Carolina pulls away with it this year. I really like the way their team has been built over the last few seasons. Wasn't a huge fan of the Tony DeAngelo signing in the offseason, but I think other than that, their roster is really, really good. They've been really, really good in the regular seasons. I think over the last 3, 4 seasons now. It's just that they've never like gotten over the hump. And so I think this is a season they surprise a lot of people. And they're going to take away first place in the Metro.
Yep.
What about you? What do you think for Metro?
Metro is going to be close. I think this is a division that a lot of people are really talking about. I do have the Hurricanes winning the Metro as well. I think it is going to be a lot closer than people think, though. I think the Rangers are going to take a step. I think the Flyers very well could take a step. I think the Islanders are taking a step back. The Penguins are hurt to bloody hell to start the season off. They don't have Gino or Sid.
Yep.
But I think the Carolina Hurricanes have a very underrated offensive core. They got Kokoniemi. They just signed Kokoniemi in the offseason. Martin Necas is a very sneaky good player. And they still have Aho, Svechnikov. They have so much there. Their blue line, despite losing Dougie Hamilton, is still solid. Tony DeAngelo, say what you will about him as a person, because I think we can all agree it was a bad PR move. He's like saying he has character issues is putting it very politely. Like there's more there, but again, that's not something we necessarily need to get into today. But that blue line is still very solid. Slavin's very underrated. Brett Pesci's very good. And the only question I have about Carolina this year is their goaltending. Their new starter is Freddie Anderson. We've seen what Freddie's been, as Leafs fans especially, we have seen what Freddie Anderson what he's been doing the last couple of years. If he can stay healthy and if he can be what he was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the Hurricanes are going to be a problem. But if not, I think it could be a different narrative with the Hurricanes, but I still do think they are going to win the division because I am confident in Freddie Anderson getting back to that level.
Yep. Fair enough. Yeah, I agree with all of that as well.
Yep.
I also agree that Pittsburgh, I don't have them making the playoffs this year at all, to be honest, which might be a hot take. We'll get into that later on. But yeah, I think Carolina, number one. Okay. Central Division in the Western Conference. Who do you got? I got Colorado winning. I don't think that's a take at all.
Like it's not going to be close in my opinion.
Yeah.
To me, Colorado's head and shoulders above everyone in the Western Conference, and not even in the Western Conference in general, not even the division.
Yep.
I think the only competition they really have is Vegas, but I have concerns about Vegas this year.
Same.
We can get to that later, but I think Colorado. It's their division to lose. It's their conference to lose. Give me Colorado.
Their time to win is like now.
Yep.
So
100%.
they've got to win that division, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pacific Division. Who do you got? I have got. Okay, this one's a little tough. I have Edmonton winning this division.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
However, I also think Vegas will be close. I think Vegas will take a step back this year. That's why I have them at number 2. But I think Edmonton's going to be number 1. Obviously, when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, you're automatically going to be in the top 10, top 5 team of the league. I liked the moves they made this season, adding Hyman, although the contract I think is grossly overpaying him. Either way, Hyman's a good addition. Yeah. I think the defensemen that they added this year as well were also not too bad. They have some sneaky, decent moves. Not sure about Mike Smith. I I think he's too old
Yep.
for another gamble at him. But if he's good, I think they win the division.
Yeah, so I have Vegas. I know mine's not a hot take. I have Vegas. Uh, I just think despite the losses they had, I still like the pieces they have. They have Mark Stone, one probably the best defensive forward in the game. They still have a really good goalie in the Robin Lehner, and they're still a stacked team on paper. I am not so high on Edmonton this year. I will.
Yeah.
I will. You can call me a hater. You can call me a Edmonton Oilers hater. I don't care. I don't. I'm just not huge on the Oilers this year. I don't. I did not. I actually didn't like what they did in the offseason. I I think Ken Holland spent a lot of money, and he probably could have spent it in a lot of different places. And although I do agree that the Zach Hyman signing is the type of player they need, the other signings I like. The other signings he made, I didn't like at all.
Yeah, not even a
But
little bit.
anyways, we can get to that later. But
I know.
yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
I think if anything, Connor McDavid finally has a proper winger for the first time.
Mhm.
Okay, so those are our division winners. One last thing about the Pacific. I also think LA is going to be sneaky good. So
I got that. I have that as well. They beat Vegas 6-2 last night,
yeah.
so they're gonna be good. You also forgot the Atlantic, my dude.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. You're right. I was scrolling down the
Yeah.
standings page and I completely.
Cats at the bottom. Yep. Yeah. Who you got in the Atlantic? Give it to me.
Okay, this is going to be very stupid, but okay. So hear me out.
I have one. I want to hear who you got. I got mine. Who's yours?
Hear me out. So we've expected a lot of the Leafs for the last few seasons, right?
Oh no.
Yo, listen.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We've expected a lot of the Leafs over the last few seasons. I don't expect them right now with the experience we've had over the last 5 playoff horrible destructive losses for them to do any serious damage in these playoffs. That's what our experience has shown us. However, the world of sports is weird, my friend. I think
Not wrong there.
the second you think a team is out of it and that this is the trend that they're always going to follow, bam, they're good. Taking the Caps. They didn't win that Stanley Cup that season. I don't even think they were first in their division. They were supposed to win the previous season when they won the President's Trophy, and then they won the cup when they weren't supposed to. So I'm not saying the Leafs are going to do that. I'm just putting a bold prediction saying maybe they sneak out first place in the Atlantic this year.
Okay. Personally, I disagree. That's okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. This might be a bit unpopular. I got the Florida Panthers taking the division this year. I like what they're doing out in Sunshine. This group might be the most outside of maybe Carolina. This might be one of the most underrated group of forwards in the entire Eastern Conference, if not the league. I really like what they've done up in Florida. The Barkov is locked up. They got Sam Reinhart, Owen Tippett's finally developing, Jonathan Huberdeau, Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe. Again, like a lot of other teams, the big question mark they have is in goal. I like Spencer Knight a lot. I think he's the real deal. And Bobrovsky, whether you like it or not, he's won a Vezina trophy before. He can be very good, but he also can be quite awful. So if they can get something out of Bobrovsky this year, like maybe not Vezina, just like somewhere in the middle there, I really like what they got because that defense core is also very, very solid in my opinion.
Yeah.
So again, again, it's a wait and see thing, but I think the Florida Panthers people are very slowly starting to raise their expectations, and I'm one of them, and I have them winning the division.
That's a good pick, to be honest. I think it'll be close. Honestly, I chose Toronto as an emotional pick just because I feel like sports works weirdly.
Sure.
So
Hey,
I'm not gonna get into the logical reason why or why not the Leafs may win. I don't think there's a point of doing that. But I think it'll be close between Toronto, Tampa, and Florida. Florida is definitely a good pick.
Yep.
I'm gonna save that also for now, actually, because you are gonna bring up something. I'm gonna save my further predictions for that.
Okay. Yeah. So, I was on. So when we were preparing for our first episode, I was on the Athletic just because that's where I like do a lot of my sports reading. And for those of you who are on Twitter a lot, there's a Twitter personality, Dan Goes Brown, super funny Twitter page. I would highly encourage checking that out. A lot of funny NHL content on there. But he posted it's basically a game as a like an NHL preseason prediction game. Now I understand that we're starting late. There's 2 games into the season for our favorite team at least. So we are starting a bit late. So again, if you want to call it unfair, whatever, to that I say I don't care. This is our show. We're gonna do what we want. So I sent Arman the questions. So if you've read the article, there are 9. We're gonna do 5 just because that's a lot of content, it's a lot of stuff to go through. Maybe we'll do the other 4 on another day or something. Who knows? But yeah. So here are the rules. So there are 5 questions, and there's a bonus question, but maybe we'll do it, maybe not. I think may as well. It's very quick. Okay. For each question, you get 1 point for your first right answer, 2 points for the second. So that's 3 points, and then so on. Like it keeps going up till you get 15 points. If you run the table with 5 correct answers, so that's just in general with the other one. We're gonna basically do it same thing like that. Like every point you get 1 correct answer. One wrong answer gives you 0 for the entire question. So if you get 1 question wrong, if you get 1 team wrong, you get 0 for the question. So like this is like this is interesting. Yeah. So that's really it. So like the main thing is just when you got your picks, you got to be sure of them. So yeah. Anyways, so the first question is name up to 5 teams that will make the playoffs this year. Did you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay.
Do you want to just go? Okay, because I think 5 teams is easy enough.
Yeah.
5 teams in the entire league, or do you mean by conference?
Okay. Just 5 teams in general, like league wide.
Okay, I think.
How about we do? How about we do at least 5? And then every point you get right after that, it can be extra. But again, if you get 1 wrong, it's 0.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, it's just for fun anyway.
Okay. Yep, exactly. And bragging rights. I plan on winning. Anyway, okay. So the teams I put down here, I actually initially read it as at least 5. But anyways, I have Tampa, I have Vegas, I have the Avalanche, I have the Leafs, I have the Panthers, I have the Capitals, I have the Islanders. So
How many teams was that?
3. That's 7.
Okay. Go 10. I'll think of another 3 while I say my first 7 as well.
7. Okay.
So I'm gonna say my 7. I think you got Colorado, you got Tampa, you got Florida, you got let's see, you got Vegas, Edmonton. How many was that?
I think that's 5 or 6.
Okay. I'm gonna write these down properly this time. So Tampa, Florida, Toronto. Yeah. I didn't say Toronto. I'm gonna say Toronto. Yeah. Colorado, Vegas, Edmonton, Tampa. Did I say Tampa already? I'm so bad at this.
Yeah.
Okay, I said Tampa already. And then Edmonton. We'll go Edmonton as my 7.
Okay.
Can't keep track. Sorry. I have my degree. It's not in counting though.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay. True. So I'm just adding the other 3. Did you go 10?
I went 7. I'm gonna go. So we got to get to 16, right? Yeah. I think to round out my top 10, I'm also gonna say. I think Boston makes it.
Okay.
I also think Chicago makes it as the wild card this year.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
And I'm gonna say Minnesota as well.
Okay. So again, I'll repeat this. I wrote down the 3 I'm going with. I will add it to my list. I'll go over all 10. So just to recap, I have Tampa, Vegas, Colorado, Toronto, Florida, Washington, the Islanders, Carolina, Dallas, and Los Angeles.
Okay. LA's a good pick as well.
Yeah. So again, this one doesn't necessarily have to be up to again. So the next one is naming up the 5 teams that won't make the playoffs. This is basically just picking the teams that we think are going to be tanking and going for Shane Wright in the draft lottery this year. I put 6 for this one. I don't know how many you want to put here, but yeah, I have
Go 10.
Buffalo,
Go 10 as well.
Arizona.
Make it fun.
Fuck, okay, fine. I got Buffalo, Arizona, Detroit, Columbus, Anaheim, San Jose. Give me. Did I say Anaheim already?
Yeah, you
I
did.
did say Anaheim. Give me St. Louis. Give me Nashville. Give me Ottawa. Give me New Jersey. That's 10.
St. Louis is a bold pick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna start off bold, Montreal. I don't think they're making the playoffs. That may or may not be bold. I don't know. I don't believe in the roster at all this year. I think they also got priced out for a long time. I think Montreal, Arizona, so that's 2. New Jersey, I don't also have New York Rangers making it this year. I could be very wrong for saying that. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anaheim, San Jose, Buffalo. Is that 7 or 8?
I think it's 8.
8. Okay. Columbus, I also don't think makes it. And then for my last one, I'm gonna go with let's see, Nashville.
Okay. Yep. Fair.
All the other teams. So we said 10 each for making and not making, which leaves another 12 in the middle.
Yeah.
I think those are you get close to making the playoffs. They're going to be the middling teams. No one cares about them.
Yep. Yeah.
I just want to say the one quick thing. So I think Minnesota could be really, really good this year. We'll get into this in a future episode, but the way that their cap is structured is so because of their buyouts for Suter and Parise.
Yep.
They're gonna suffer a huge penalty next season and the season after, and it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
So I think their GM is smart enough to realize, okay, this is it. This season and next are the only viable options for us to go all in and go hard for the playoffs in the cup.
I don't know about that. Okay, here's my mindset. I get that. I just think they just locked up Kirill Kaprizov, who is probably the most exciting player in the history of that franchise.
Yeah, it's a boring franchise.
He is the only other player I can really think of is Marian Gaborik, but that's so long ago. Kaprizov can be something else. I think he is their window. The cap penalty definitely sucks, and again, it just makes those contracts just even more unforgivable when they were signed.
Yeah.
But what can you do? I like Minnesota. I just don't know if they have the surrounding cast to help Kaprizov compete. That's all. I just think it's a question mark, but I think they can be good. That's all.
We'll see what happens. I think it'll be funny to look back on our predictions at the end of the season. So we'll compare points and everything.
Oh yeah.
We could both be so wrong. The NHL season is so stupid. Sometimes you'll have a team that you think is going to tank, but they end up making the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Okay, so next one we'll just do 5 because I don't really know what the okay, so we're gonna go 5 coaches that are gonna be fired before the end of the season. I'll go first. I am gonna so I don't know who I'm not 100% sure who all these coaches are. I'm just going basically off of teams. I think give me Buffalo's head coach. I'm not 100% sure who that is. I know Ken Adams is the GM. It was Ralph Kruger for a bit. I think Ralph Kruger got fired last year. So give me the Sabres. Give me the Nashville Predators. Give me the Chicago Blackhawks. Give me the I don't even know at this point. Give me Dallas Eakins, the Anaheim Ducks, and give me I think it's Bob Bugner of the San Jose Sharks. I think Bugner's the coach of the Sharks. I think there's a good chance he's let go because that team is just a mess right now. The Sharks are.
Yep. Okay, so those are your 5. My 5 are a little different. I'm gonna start off potentially controversial. I don't think Montreal makes it this year, and therefore I don't think Dom Ducharme makes it either.
Okay.
I never believed in that signing when it actually happened because honestly, his playoff deployment was a little sus. The way he used Kotkaniemi and Caulfield, I think in the first round against the Leafs was really weird. And he
Yep.
continued doing that in the second, third, and fourth round. So
Mhm.
I think if they don't make it, he goes down with the ship. I don't think he's gonna have his job. So Dom Ducharme, I'm gonna start with.
Okay.
I also don't have. I'm not too hot on the Jets this year.
Mhm.
So I have Paul Maurice finally being let go. He's
That's a
been
good
there
one.
for a
That's a good one. Yep.
long time.
Yeah. Maurice is a good one. Yep.
Like 2014, I'm reading over here. That's holy
Yep.
shit. It's almost
That's
eight.
the Hurricanes. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. I'm also gonna say Buffalo.
Yeah. And that like yeah.
They've had
Okay.
a rotating cast of coaches over the last like 5 years now. So
Coaches and captains apparently. Yep.
and GMs. So
Yep. And GMs, everything. Yep.
yeah, he might be fired as well.
Yep.
So that's three. Number four, I'm going to say let's go San Jose as well. I don't think Bob Bugner stays on for too much longer. And then let's see. The last one's kind of tough.
Yeah. There's I just went with. Oh, actually, I have a okay. Good.
Can I say a future pick? Because I don't think Daryl.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think Daryl Sutter on the Calgary Flames will
Yep.
long term.
That's exactly where I was gonna go. Yep. Flames. I think the Flames are borderline like burn everything to the ground mode. I think it's coming in the
Yeah.
next couple of years. I think yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if he stays on. Maybe he does. I think he'll stay on
I
past.
don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. To me, it seemed like the Daryl Sutter signing was we're gonna get the most out of this core while we still have it. Johnny Gaudreau's a free agent at the end of the year, and if he leaves and goes back to Philadelphia or Boston or anywhere back into that East Coast area, I think that's it for the Flames. Like I know that's a big like I know that might be a bit controversial. They still have Matty Tkachuk, Sean Monahan, but like if anything, like even with those guys, they've shown they can't compete, at least not to a point where they can be an actual Stanley Cup contender. And it might be just might just be time for them to just kind of tear everything down. So, I just don't see Daryl Sutter hanging on for that or sticking around for that.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think Daryl Sutter was brought in as a last ditch effort to draw blood from a stone, kind of like how teams use what's his face, John Tortorella.
Yeah.
But there's always like a time limit with those kinds of coaches.
Yep.
He's
100%.
so cool. He's like he looks 100 years old.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think his time's limited. So those are my five.
Yeah. So then we're gonna quickly also do top five GMs who are going to be fired. Again, so there are a couple that come to mind. This kills me to say. This absolutely kills me to say. I have Kyle Dubas making this list.
Wow.
I have Kyle Dubas on this list. I have again. So my Kyle Dubas pick that has an asterisk on it. I'll get into that in a second. Give me Kyle Dubas. Give me. Sorry. Yeah. Give me Kyle Dubas. Give me Jim Benning. Give me Brad Treliving. Give me Doug Wilson. And give me George McPhee. Those are my five. Kyle Dubas, if he doesn't make the playoffs, he's gone. If he team doesn't have playoff success, he's gone. Brad Treliving, he's been awful for the last couple of years. He's done very minimal things to actually bring in talent to help the team. He's gone. Jim Benning, this free agency and in the past, his free agency and his contracts have screwed this team over time after time. And at this point in time, I think just way better off with someone else. I think he's gone at the end of the year, especially if the Canucks struggle throughout the year, which I think they might. George McPhee, the amount of questionable decisions that has come from this franchise the last couple of years is getting to the point where it's just straight up unacceptable. The whole Marc-Andre Fleury, trading Marc-Andre Fleury away for literally nothing. Trading players with you just signing to after contracts, I think is catching up to them. And the Vegas Golden Knights, I think, are getting to a point where they're trading away all the young assets and their cupboard is now empty. If they don't win now, they are going to be in trouble. They have not made the cup finals since 2019 in their 20 I think 2017. I can't remember when their inaugural season was, but since their first season, which is very impressive, do not get me wrong, but since then they have not been they have not had the same success. They've been a very good team, but they've not had the same playoff success. And then I guess another one else to throw in there is Stan Bowman. I know I had a fifth one. I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember who my fifth one was. But give me Doug Wilson and Stan Bowman. Doug Wilson, Stan Bowman. Same thing. They've been with the team for a very long time. They've had different levels of success, but I just it might be a time for changing of the guard, especially with this whole thing going on in Chicago with the investigations that are going on. And Doug Wilson, the Sharks have been bad for a while. The Erik Karlsson contract might be the worst contract in hockey, which was a contract that was given out by Doug Wilson. And there's other stuff on that team, like he hasn't addressed the goaltending situation at all after letting Martin Jones go. James Reimer, I love James Reimer. Always have a special place in my heart, but he is not the guy for that job. And it's again, it might just be time for a changing in the guard both in Chicago and San Jose, at least in my opinion.
Okay, so I have I have the list of current NHL general managers on Wikipedia. Am I reading this right? Doug Wilson has been tenured as the GM of the Sharks since 2003.
Yeah, he's been there a while. He's been there since I started watching hockey in 2011.
What?
Yeah. Sure.
I thought that was a typo.
No.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, just based off that, I don't think he's going to be fired.
Okay. Sure. I'll take that.
However, by the way, I think I'm reading here the GM of the Knights is Kelly McCrimmon.
Okay, Kelly McCrimmon. Sorry, George McPhee was part of the organization. Kelly McCrimmon, whatever. Kelly McCrimmon, whatever. Like, just yeah.
I'm gonna agree with you there. That was my first pick. I don't think Vegas, their GM Kelly McCrimmon, is gonna last after the season because I have Vegas taking a step back.
Yep.
And I also don't think their strategy of like signing players to huge contracts and then getting rid of them without even like noticing them of being traded, like example Fleury. I think they've developed kind of a brand now that players won't really like, and I think the punishment will be Kelly McCrimmon's head. I'm kidding, his job.
His head.
So I have him. I have. This is contingent on the Leafs blowing it again. If they blow it, I think Dubas goes. If they run, I think he's safe.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yep.
And by blow it, I mean either miss the playoffs or lose in the first round
exit. Yep. Yeah.
I think he's gone, but that's asterisk.
Yep.
I also have, I was going to say Doug Wilson. That's not happening, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Kevin Adams just came in last year. However, Buffalo.
That's a really good one. That is a really good one, Kevin Adams.
They're going to get through this Eichel saga like just dead. And I think they're going to suffer severely in terms of just rep around the league, in terms of how they're handling Eichel. And I think that falls directly on Kevin Adams' shoulders. Poor guy, he was just hired last year, and I don't think he has much to do with this. However,
he doesn't.
I don't know. It's just something wrong about Buffalo, dude.
Yeah. It's toxic. It's probably one of the least like pleasurable places to play right now, and I think it's been like that for a while.
Yeah.
Anyways, good picks. And then we have one more question for our
I only chose 3.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my bad. My bad. I was cutting you off. My bad.
Don't worry. So I got 3. I'm gonna go bold and also say Marc Bergevin this year. There's a good chance this does not come to fruition, but I think there's an ongoing Chicago Blackhawks investigation, and that has a bunch of GMs around the league involved. So that includes Stan Bowman, that includes Marc Bergevin. And I don't think right now there's a lot of chatter going around and fans aren't letting it die down, which is great. However, I think they're going to get to the bottom of the investigation and they're going to find out both Stan Bowman. This is just a gut feeling. Obviously, innocent until proven guilty. I could be talking out of my ass right now, but I think where there's smoke, there's fire, especially in situations like this. And if the accusations are right, I have both Stan Bowman and Marc Bergevin losing their jobs.
Yep.
I hope that whole investigation goes through. We'll probably dedicate another podcast segment to that in the future.
Yeah, exactly. It's not bad. I think this is probably one of the first years I felt in a while where I felt like there are actually like multiple GMs on the hot seat. And maybe part of that just because the pandemic and everything, and like cash is tight and new bad signings or have a lot less tolerance right now just because of the financial situation of the league, and that's fine. But yeah,
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see what happens for sure.
I'm also
And
going
now,
to add. I'm also going
oh,
to
so wait,
add. Sorry,
so did you 5 or 4?
I did 5, but
Okay,
my
yeah,
deepest one was an asterisk. I'm going to quickly add Kevin Shovel-Day to the list too because I think he's also part of the investigation. So I might as well. He's Winnipeg Jets GM.
yeah. Cheveldayoff is an interesting one. I could see that as well, but anyway, I personally I wouldn't go that way, but I could definitely see why someone might put that. And then one more question for y'all on the season preview episode of the Taxi Squad. Um, this is actually a very interesting question. Um, I'm gonna go with 3 players, but it's name up to 5 players who are currently on an NHL roster that will change teams between the start of this season and the end of the first day of 2022 free agency. So it's basically asking who do you think is going to get traded at the trade deadline or sign a contract with a new team on free agency day?
Do you
I
quick thing? Do you want to just go top one and then you go into detail about this one? Because I think we've
okay,
been
yep,
close to 40 minutes now.
yeah, okay, yeah. Um, I have 5 here. I'm gonna go something big. I'm gonna go Philip Forsberg.
Wow.
Philip Forsberg. This is a bit risky because I know if I get it wrong at 0 points, anyways, but like Philip Forsberg, I think is going to be gone this year. To me, the trading of Ryan Ellis, the moves that they've made have indicated to me that they're going into a rebuild. Philip Forsberg is a great player, but he's also a great player who has, I think he's 1 year away from UFA. And he is a player a lot of people will give a lot of very nice assets up for to bring onto their hockey team, especially if they are trying to make a playoff push. Uh, he also just if they're rebuilding, I don't see a need for Philip Forsberg on that team. It's obviously great to have leaders. It's good to have good character players, but players that are as good as Philip Forsberg can get you some very nice return. And I think the Nashville Predators are probably still one of my favorite organizations in the league, but they are going to go through a rebuild, and Philip Forsberg, in my opinion, is probably the biggest chip that's going to be off that roster come the trade deadline. And that's the main one that comes to my mind.
That is a good pick. I was initially going to say Johnny Gaudreau. I think that's
Yep,
very
that's
obvious.
on my list as well. Yep,
I was also
same
going to
as
say
well.
Jack Eichel because I mean that's fucking obvious.
Yeah,
But I'm going to go Travis Dermott because
interesting. Okay.
I think Kyle Dubas is smart enough to know that maybe this offseason there weren't any good signings that he could have made for defensemen. However,
Yep.
signing Dermott, essentially, because I think they had him for 2 or 3 more years, right?
Yep.
It guarantees that they have some control over his future. So I think what they do is at the trade deadline, they swap him they give a pick as well. And then they get a good veteran defenseman in return so that Rasmus Sandin can play with someone, I think, strong in the back end.
Yep.
I think Dermott, he could prove me wrong in saying this, but I feel like the way that contract was signed was too convenient because it wasn't too much money, it wasn't too long. And I feel like a rebuilding team who has a veteran defenseman could use him in a pick and give him a veteran defenseman.
That's actually a pretty good pick. I don't doubt that as well, especially if Timothy Liljegren comes into the lineup and shows he can hang with the big league team.
Maybe.
Again, that's a huge question mark. Timothy Liljegren is essentially a rookie. He's played very few games in the NHL. I'll give you the other names I had on my list. I won't go into detail, but I also had Ryan Getzlaf, Johnny Gaudreau, PK Subban, and Tomas Hertl of the San Jose Sharks.
PK again.
And yeah, PK, same thing. Try to load him off for assets. He has a big contract you can retain. I don't know. Thomas Hertl, same thing. Hertl's going to be an interesting one. I think he's the first line center on the Sharks. Those don't come available very often.
Yeah.
Again, we'll see how things go.
I'm gonna end it here by saying I would love to see PK in a Leafs jersey one day.
Me too. Me too. Hey, I've been banging that drum for years.
This could be the season. Never know. That could be the defenseman they swap to a rebuilding team.
Maybe. Hey, I'm about it.
Same. All right, so we're gonna put a pin in here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for everyone who made it this far for our first episode. We're gonna run these weekly, and I think we'll have this up probably the next day after we record.
Yeah,
So
we're still sorting some stuff out. We are still getting things kind of all in tip-top shape for the distribution and how things are going to be out there. But it should be up by either the end of this, by the end of tomorrow, or sometime next couple days.
yep.
Uh,
End of the
and
weekend.
yeah,
I think that's a good time.
yeah.
The weekend for
Like Arman said, this is gonna be up every week. So yeah, we'll see you. I guess thanks for hanging around, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
See ya.